Hello, my friends, welcome back. I hope you are having a peaceful and wonderful day. Today, I want to tell you the story of a man who changed Europe. He was a soldier, a leader, and an emperor. Some people admired him, while others feared him. Even more than 200 years after his death, people still talk about him. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte. When people hear the name Napoleon, they often think about war. They imagine large armies, famous battles, and a powerful emperor wearing a military uniform. But Napoleon's story is much more than that. It is the story of a young boy who came from a small island. It is a story of ambition, courage, success, and failure. How did an ordinary boy become one of the most powerful men in the world? Let's find out together. Before we begin, if you enjoy learning English through stories, please subscribe to Everstory English. Your support helps us create more stories for your English learning journey. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769, on the island of Corsica. Corsica is located in the Mediterranean Sea and today belongs to France. However, when Napoleon was born, Corsica had only recently become part of France. Napoleon's family was not rich. His father was a lawyer, and his mother worked hard to care for the family. Napoleon had 7 brothers and sisters, and life was often difficult because there was not much money. Even so, his parents believed that education was important. When Napoleon was a young boy, he was sent to school in France. This was not easy for him. He spoke with a different accent, and other children sometimes laughed at him. They thought he was strange and different. Napoleon often felt lonely, but instead of giving up, he focused on his studies. He loved reading books, especially books about history. He read about great leaders and famous generals. And as he read these stories, he began to dream. He wanted to do something important with his life, and he wanted people to remember his name. As Napoleon grew older, he entered a military school. There he learned about mathematics, strategy, and artillery, which means large guns used in war. Napoleon was very good at mathematics, and this helped him understand military tactics. His teachers noticed his intelligence and believed he was special. When Napoleon was only 16 years old, he became an officer in the French army. This was a great achievement, but France was about to enter a period of great change. In 1789, the French Revolution began. The people of France were angry because many were poor and wanted freedom and change. The revolution transformed the country. Kings lost power, new leaders appeared, and the old system began to fall apart. For ambitious young officers like Napoleon, new opportunities appeared. Napoleon worked hard and showed courage in battle. He made smart decisions, and his leaders began to trust him. Soon he was promoted, and then he was promoted again. His rise was incredibly fast. One important moment came in 1793, when a city called Toulon was controlled by enemies of the revolution. Napoleon helped lead the attack, and his plan was successful. The city was captured, and people across France noticed his achievement. For the first time, Napoleon became famous. A few years later, he was given command of an army in Italy. Many people expected him to fail. His soldiers were tired and lacked food and supplies. But Napoleon inspired them. He gave speeches, promised victory, and surprisingly delivered on those promises. Again and again, his army defeated larger enemy forces. His victories shocked Europe. Napoleon became a national hero, newspapers wrote about him, and people admired him. His confidence continued to grow, and soon he became one of the most important men in France. In 1799, Napoleon took control of the government. Many people supported him because they believed France needed a strong leader. Napoleon promised stability, order, and a better future. At first, he became first consul of France, but that was not enough for him. A few years later, he crowned himself emperor. Imagine that. A boy from a small island had become the ruler of one of Europe's most powerful nations. As emperor, Napoleon introduced many reforms. He improved education, changed laws, built roads, and strengthened the government. One of his most important achievements was the Napoleonic Code, a new legal system that influenced many countries around the world. Even today, some of its ideas remain important. However, Napoleon was not satisfied with ruling France alone. He wanted to build a great empire. His armies marched across Europe, and country after country fell under his influence. At the height of his power, Napoleon controlled much of Europe. Many people believed he was unstoppable. But history teaches us an important lesson. No one stays on top forever. In 1812, Napoleon made a decision that changed everything. He invaded Russia. At first, his army moved forward successfully, but the Russians had a clever strategy. Instead of fighting large battles, they retreated. As they retreated, they destroyed food and supplies. Napoleon's soldiers could not find enough food. Then winter arrived. The weather became extremely cold, snow covered the land, and thousands of soldiers became sick. Thousands more died from hunger and cold. The invasion became a disaster, and only a small part of Napoleon's army returned home. His enemies saw weakness and joined together against him. Soon Napoleon began losing battles. In 1814, he was forced to give up power and was sent to a small island called Elba. Many people believed his story was finished. But Napoleon had one more surprise. Less than a year later, he escaped and returned to France. Thousands of people welcomed him back, and soldiers joined him once again. For a short time, Napoleon regained power. This period became known as the 100 Days. However, Europe was ready. His enemies gathered their armies, and the final battle came in 1815 near a village called Waterloo. The battle lasted all day. Napoleon fought hard, but this time he lost. Waterloo ended his dream of empire. After the battle, Napoleon was captured again. This time he was sent far away to the island of St. Helena in the Atlantic Ocean. There was no escape. He spent the final years of his life there, often thinking about the past. He thought about his victories, his mistakes, and the empire he had lost. Napoleon died in 1821 at the age of 51. His life had come to an end, but his influence did not disappear. Today, historians still study him. Some see him as a military genius, while others see him as a ruler who caused great suffering. Perhaps both views contain some truth. Napoleon was a complex man. He achieved extraordinary success, but he also made serious mistakes. That is one reason his story remains fascinating even today. What can we learn from Napoleon? We can learn the importance of education. As a young boy, he loved reading and learning. We can learn the value of determination. Even when others laughed at him, he continued moving forward. But we can also learn the importance of humility. Success can disappear if we become too confident. Today, as we learn English, we are following a similar path. Every new word we learn gives us more knowledge. Every story teaches us something valuable. Every day of practice brings us closer to our goals. Thank you for listening to this story today. I hope you enjoyed learning about Napoleon Bonaparte, and I hope this story helped you improve your English. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and join us for more timeless stories. Until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and keep growing with Everstory English.